Hello students, Mr. Young here. Welcome to Chapter 11, Lesson 2, Part 2. Today we're talking about the Punic Wars. So Rome was an up-and-coming power within the Mediterranean, but there was another civilization in town, Carthage. That means there are two big kids on the block, and both want control of the money machine that is Mediterranean trade dominance. In 264 BC, the rivalry between Carthage and Rome hit the boiling point, and the two civilizations would fight a series of wars over 120 years to see who controlled the Med. Let's get to it. There we go. So, the First Punic War is considered to have begun in 264 BC. You see, Rome wanted control of the island of Sicily. It was a nice fertile island, and Carthage had already established a colony on Sicily, so they weren't just going to let Rome have it. I have a map down here. Here's Sicily. It's chilling down here at the bottom of all the way down south of Italy. So, Rome had a powerful army, but had to scratch build a navy to fight Carthage. Didn't have much of a navy. Carthage, on the other hand, already had a powerful navy. Considering they were fighting over an island, having a good navy would be important. Rome built their navy, basing their ship designs on those of the Carthage ships, except they added a movable bridge on the front of their ships for boarding actions. That way, they were able to utilize their formidable army on the seas. You can kind of see it here. See, they put a movable ramp on the front of their ship, so they just basically get within boarding range of the enemy ships, and then boom, boarding actions. So Rome and Carthage fought over Sicily for 20 years, when finally the Roman navy soundly defeated the Carthage navy in 241 BC. Carthage was forced to surrender Sicily to Rome. Now that brings us to Hannibal in the Second Punic War. Having lost Sicily, Carthage sought to compensate elsewhere. Carthage was conquering Spain. They're like, we lost Sicily, well, we'll just go over here and take Spain. Rome did not like having its enemies so close to home, and encouraged the Spanish people to rebel. In response, Carthage was pretty mad about this and sent its most capable general, Hannibal, to attack Rome itself. Hannibal and his troops landed in Spain with an army of about 37,000 men, including 37 war elephants. This army then marched on Rome. They passed through Gaul, which is modern-day France, and then they had to cross the Alps with elephants. Imagine elephants climbing an ice mountain. It pretty much ends up like this, with elephants falling over the edge. So by the time Hannibal's army made it over the mountain, between attacks by mountain men and the bitter cold, most of the elephants were dead, and half the men were dead too. Even so, with half his army gone, Hannibal still commanded a sizable force and used it to defeat a Roman army at Cannae in 216 BC. In response, Rome raised another army and used it to attack Spain. This army was led by a guy named Scipio. Scipio then took his army and attacked Carthage itself. Hannibal rushed back to North Africa to defend his home, and Rome defeated Carthage once more in 202 at the Battle of Zama. This pretty much broke Carthage's power in the Mediterranean. Rome forced Carthage to give up its navy, pay a large sum to Rome, and surrender Spain. The Second Punic War ended with Rome as basically the sole superpower in the Mediterranean. Here's those war elephants. That brings us to the Third Punic War. There's not much on the Third Punic War. Basically, in the 140s BC, Rome was pretty much steamrolling the Mediterranean world. They still considered the Carthage army a threat, though, so they finally knocked them out for good in 146. In the Third Punic War, that's pretty much it. At the same time, within the same decade, they were conquering Greece. We mentioned that at the end of the Greece chapter. And a mere 20 years later, they were actually starting to carve up provinces in Asia. So quite an empire they're building. Basically, Rome was the superpower of the world. That's it for the lesson. It's a short one because it is just part of a larger lesson. Some pretty cool pictures in the book of Romans fighting elephants and stuff. It's a pretty fun topic in history. For your assignment, please answer the following questions using complete sentences. You can bullet them or one to them or put them in paragraph form. I don't care, as long as you use complete sentences. Question 1, how was Rome able to utilize its powerful army on the seas in the First Punic War? And number 2, how did Hannibal lose half his army before even battling the Romans in the Second Punic War? All right, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.